What's up, guys? We are live. What's up, everyone? This is a live Blender Q&A and tutorial. What's up, everyone? Again, if you have any questions regarding anything in Blender, you could ask it tonight. This is a live Blender Q&A and tutorial that we do every single weeknight. What's up, everyone? What's up, Tester UGD? Been a while, man. What's up, brother? We are live on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Kick, and Instagram. So once again, guys, this is a live Blender Q&A and tutorial. And if you have any questions regarding anything in Blender, you could ask it tonight. Let me just get everything set up, and I think we're good. All right. What's up, everyone? By the way, guys, this week is BlendCon LA, starting Friday, 3 days from now. BlendCon LA, I will be going, others will be going. It's going to be cool. I'll try to live stream some of it or most of it. Can you please create a roadmap for beginners? Firas asks. That's a good question. So yeah, let me get into that here. Bro, I am currently a pro in Maya. How can I switch to Blender? Is it worth it? Absolutely, man. I started with Maya, actually, and I did that for a month, but I didn't really like it. I know quite a bit of people switch from Maya to Blender. And as far as how can you switch to Blender, first of all, is it worth it? Absolutely. As far as how can you switch, just learning one thing at a time with Blender. And Firas asks, can you please create a roadmap for beginners? So I'm going to take that as my first question here in just a second. And I will show how to create a roadmap for beginners. All right. By the way, guys, we do this every single weeknight. And the official site for this community is blendermania3d.com. By the way, guys, if you want to join in the Zoom, you could join in the Zoom. You'll be able to see in full screen, and you will be able to ask questions. So join in the Zoom. To join the Zoom, you just need to click on the Zoom link or go to zoom.com and put in the ID 871-7575-3957. All right. So quick question, Firas. You said, please create a roadmap for beginners. So I appreciate you, man, anytime. Am I assuming that you don't know anything at all in Blender? So a roadmap with not knowing anything in Blender? Or all right. Let me get everything here. Where's my, okay, cool. All right. So Firas' question is, create a roadmap for beginners. And actually, right now, I am remaking my A to Z course, which goes from not knowing anything in Blender at all to knowing mostly everything in Blender. And I think I'm also going to do a free version of that as well. Firas says, yeah. Same case, I don't know anything about Blender, Root says. All right, cool. Well, tonight we're going to focus on beginner level stuff. So let's do it. Let's focus on some beginner level stuff. And again, Firas and Root or anyone else, when you guys say you don't know anything, are you guys saying like even like edit mode and how to add loop cuts and extrude? You don't know that stuff either? Or you know like the very basics or not that? And it's fine if you don't know that. I just trying to kind of gauge where you guys are. So are you guys familiar with like extruding and adding loop cuts and stuff like that and adding materials, or not that either? What's up, guys? Again, we're about to jump into the live stream. Yeah, that's we know, Root says. Okay. So if you know the absolute beginner level stuff, like extruding and things like that, all right, so obviously this is a little bit of a tricky question as far as a roadmap for beginners, because it really is all about just making stuff and doing things. But let's go ahead and let's actually do a practical thing here. And let's make, for example, a wooden barrel, the basics, Firas says. So Firas, are you talking about the basics like extruding and adding loop cuts? I can make some simple low poly objects and texture them, but when it comes to the part to make a complex projects, I can't do it. Well, again, making more complex scenes all comes from mastering the simpler stuff. I mean, there is no shortcut. I think you have to also take a look if you're trying to take a shortcut. Because I know when I first started Blender, I wanted to make really complex scenes. And when I would try to, I would get like a tenth of the way in, and then I would just stop on the scene because it was too complicated. But I was trying to create something much more complex without learning the basics first. So you have to look if you're doing that. Because if you're doing that, there's no shortcut to it. You just have to learn all the basic stuff. For example, here let's go ahead and create a very simple barrel. But if you're not able to do some of the basic stuff and you're trying to skip to the more advanced things, then that's where the problem will be. But as far as a roadmap, let me try to list out a roadmap right here. Let me get the text editor, and then we'll get into some tutorials of actually doing practical things. So as far as a roadmap here, first thing you want to know is the basics of Blender. So how to navigate, and again, this might sound simple, but how to navigate and manipulate objects and edit and object mode. So you want to know how to do that first. And again, it might sound simple, but if you're not able to navigate around your scene, or you don't know how to go in and out of edit mode and basically manipulate your object and extrude it and everything, you can't go to the second step. So the first step is to know those things. Then the second step, I would say, is how to add new objects or meshes and add simple materials. So once you've mastered edit mode and how to extrude and all that, and you're fine with manipulating objects, you need to know how to add new objects into your scene. RX 180. So how to add just simple mesh primitives, and also how to add simple materials to them. So for example, here, if I'm making an ice cream cone, some strawberry ice cream or whatever. Again, very, very simple. But if you're not able to do that, once again, there is no reason to skip ahead. So for example, I would just make some simple little scenes using just simple geometry. For example, making a house like so, and simple materials. All right. So once you've done that, all I can do is copying tutorials, but I can't create something on my own. Well, Firas, are you able to put simple objects together, or you haven't even done that yet? Because guys, this might seem simple, and it's probably not what you want to create in Blender. But again, if you're not able to do this, which is super simple, you're not going to be able to do more complex things. So you got to take it one step at a time. And what this does also, taking it one step at a time, is that it builds your confidence. Because if you try something really complex, like making a human character and making a whole animation, you're going to be discouraged. All right, so once you've done step 2, how to add new objects and meshes and simple materials, step 3, I would say, is make a simple animation. Now, for a simple animation, I recommend 2 things to make a simple animation. I recommend doing an array animation. So what that is, and guys, this was the first animation I ever did, like 15 years ago, but it was really fun. So here, if you want to follow along, it's going to be very simple. If you add a cube right here, so just add a single cube, I'm going to go to the modifiers and add an array modifier right here. And then I'm just going to increase the count. Then I'm going to add in an empty, a plain axes. And here on the array modifier, I'm going to select object offset and select the empty as the offset. So now when I grab this empty and move it or scale it or rotate it, you can see I get this cool kind of look right here. Then all I need to do is enable automatic keyframe insertion, and I could start moving this and create a very simple kind of animation, as you can see right there. And so now I get this really simple kind of little animation. But again, it can be very fun to do. It's very simple, but again, very fun. Another simple animation, so if you're brand new and trying to get the workflow of Blender, is to create a ball bouncing animation. So let's go ahead and do that right now quickly. So guys, if you want to follow along, just go ahead, and here we're going to add in a plane for the floor. So add a plane for the floor, and we're going to add in a UV sphere for the ball. Let me go ahead and scale up the plane. And right here, I'm just going to put the ball right here. And with the ball, we're going to add what's called a lattice. Again, guys, this is like beginner level animation stuff. So once again, if you're not able to do a simple ball animation, look at doing that first before you move on to more complex stuff. Because again, I know how frustrating it can be if you try to do like really complex things and you're not able to. So here with the sphere, we're going to hit Shift S, cursor to selected, and we're going to hit Shift A and add a lattice right here. And let's go ahead and scale it up. Of course, you could squish the ball without a lattice. Root says, yeah, man. You could squash the ball without a lattice, but a lattice allows for us to get some really nice deformations. Basically, a lattice, what this does is it allows for squishing and stretching effects. So if I select the ball and make sure that you scale up the lattice so that it encompasses the whole sphere. I'm also going to hit Control A and apply the scale. So right here, I just have a UV sphere with a lattice that's scaled up to encompass it. On the sphere, I'm going to add in a lattice modifier. And my lattice object is going to be lattice right here. Let me go ahead and apply the scale of this. Now, why is this giving me issues here? So I'm going to scale this up a little bit because it was giving me issues a little bit. There we go. So now you can see that with a lattice, this basically allows for you, I think it's when I apply the scale. Let me see. Yeah, so I guess I don't want to apply the scale on the lattice. So the lattice, you can see if we go into edit mode of the lattice, it has these vertices or points. And as you can see, we could grab this and it will deform that area of your mesh, as you can see there. We could also go to the lattice properties and we could increase the amount of subdivisions for the different sides of the lattice. I'm just going to leave that to 0. So right here, for example, let me turn off automatic keyframe insertion. Right here on the lattice, how did we isolate particular selected mesh? So to isolate a selected mesh, you could just hit Shift H. Shift H will hide everything except for that mesh. So Shift H right there. And again, let me go ahead. Let me re-add the lattice because I think it kind of deformed it a little bit. Let me bring this up. I'm going to scale this up a little bit and select the lattice. There we go. So right here we have the lattice, and on our sphere, we could add what are called shape keys right here. Not on the sphere, on the lattice, excuse me. So on the lattice, we have shape keys, and this basically gives us the ability to edit this or manipulate or animate this in edit mode. So right here, I could add a shape key, and this is the basis shape key. And then I could add another shape key, and if I put the value to 1, you can see that I could grab this lattice and squish the ball like so in edit mode. So now when I slide this value, it will squish the ball. Now, if I want the ball to stretch, I could put this range minimum. You can see it's at 0. I could put it to -1, and now I could bring it to the negative, and I could stretch the ball. So now I'm able to squash and stretch the ball. Pretty cool. So right here, let's say that this is at 0 and on frame 1. So right here, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to parent this lattice to the ball and parent it to the object. So now it moves with it. Let me also delete this keyframe. And right here, I could keyframe the ball and keyframe the lattice at a value of 0. And then I could go to frame 10 and bring the ball down. And on the lattice, I could bring this value up and squish the ball like so. I'm going to exaggerate it. And then I'm going to make sure that this is touching the floor. And then add a keyframe right here for this and a keyframe for this value. So right here, it's going from this to that. Now you can see that the ball is also squishing before it hits the floor. So what I want to do is I want to go to the frame before, and I'm going to bring this value to 0 right here. And I'm going to key that. And I'm going to bring this ball up a little bit so that it's right before touching the floor and keying that. So right here, I got the ball hitting the floor and squishing like that. And then I can move forward 1 frame. I could copy this frame right here before the squishing and duplicate that there with Shift D. And same thing with the lattice. I could bring this keyframe, duplicate it, and bring it there. So now the ball is squishing, and then it's going to go back up. And again, guys, I'm doing this kind of fast because this isn't the point of the tutorial. I'm just showing you that you want to be able to animate simple things like this. So now you can see that the ball squashes and stretches like that. Now right here, we could also change these keyframes. One thing you'll notice, guys, is that on your keyframes, when you insert a normal keyframes, it starts up slowly and then it ends slowly. And that's because if we look at the graph editor right here, let me go to this. You could see that these keyframes are, let me go to the Z location and hide everything else. So let me hide all that, Z location. You can see that the graph is like a slope. It's sloping right here. So if we hit the T key over here, we could change these to linear. And you can see when we change it to linear, it's no longer sloping. So it's not going to start up slow or end slow. It's going to be a constant speed throughout. And of course, we could change the speed of this if we want. So anyways, once you got the ball squashing and stretching, you could go ahead and let me go back to my text editor. So make simple animations. Again, simple animations like moving cubes and things like that. Once you have that, and let me double check something. Once you have that, you want to go into, I would say, creating a simple character. So guys, to create a simple character, Very, very easy, because I know a lot of people want to create simple characters or create characters. But the thing is, sometimes people try to create something too complex. So what I suggest is step 4, make a simple character rig and animation. And when I mean simple, I mean simple. So here we could add in a cube. And if I hit the M key, I can merge all of these vertices as one single vertex. So basically, I have a single vertex here. Then in the modifiers, I could add a mirror modifier, and I could add a skin modifier right here. And then with this, you can see that it's going to mirror and everything. I could turn on clipping as well. I could then extrude this. This is going to be for the torso. Let me turn off clipping quickly. I could extrude this for the thighs or the legs, and extrude this down for the knees, extrude this down for the legs, and in side view, extrude this down for the feet. And then right here, by the way, guys, I'm showing the kind of like a simple roadmap to understand Blender, again, step by step. So right here, I could extrude for the torso, extrude for the shoulders, extrude for the arms up to the elbow and then the arms, and here extrude for the head, and the neck and the head. Now, what's really cool about using the skin modifier is we could go ahead, no pun intended, we could select these vertices and hit Control A, and it will basically inflate them. So we could kind of inflate them and then give it a little bit more shape, as you can see right here. So now we could give our character a little bit more of a shape, like so. And let me extrude that a little bit. We could also hit Control 2, add a subsurface level of 2. Let me see. Did that? Oh, it's crashing. Let me also go to Edit, Preferences, and Viewport. Turn off the GPU subdivisions. There we go. So now we could add a subdivision surface as well and kind of start to give this a little bit more shape, as you can see right there. Now, again, this is very simple. Probably not the kind of character you want to make necessarily, but you can see that here we have a simple character. You could even extrude out simple fingers. So for example, here, I could extrude out the parts for the joints. Let's say he has 3 fingers. And then here, I could just extrude this out like so and subdivide this like so, and maybe put the subdivisions to 2. So now we have a very, very simple character with some very, very simple fingers and hand. Now, what's cool about the skin modifier is that right here, I could then apply the mirror modifier, and I could apply right here on the skin modifier, I could select Create Armature. And it's going to create an armature for the character that we just made. And you can see here, we're now able to animate or move the character. Pretty cool. So now we could animate and move the character like so. So again, guys, this is very simple, but if you're not able to do this, once again, there's no reason to move further. I mean, let me rephrase that. There's not no reason, but a lot of times if you try something more complex than your current skill level, you'll get frustrated and just stop, which is not good either. Then once you have a simple character and rig and an animation, I recommend step 5 is to create or learn about IK controls. So right here, for example, I could go ahead and create some IK controls for this. So again, IK controls allows for us to more easily be able to animate our character. So right here, if I separate these. Let me see. That's not what I want to do. Let me undo that. Give me a second. There we go. Gosh dang it. Clear parent. There we go. And clear parent on this. So in IK, whereas here we need to basically rotate all these bones all at once, the IK basically allows for us to control this. And why? Oh, hold on. Give me a second. I forgot to set the root bone on the let me remove this. So right here, you can see we have a root on this, and this allows for us to set the root bone so we can mark the root. And again, this creates the root bone for the rig. So right here, there we go. So once you create a simple rig, I would go ahead and just learn about IKs and IK setups. So right here, you can see that I have these bones. I'm able to basically create these IK setups. Where's the constraints? There we go. So these IK setups basically allow for us to more easily control and rig our character, as you can see right there. Now right here, it's having a little bit of difficulty because I didn't model the character necessarily properly. But here we could also create some tracking to bones for the knees. So for example, on the IKs, we're able to add pull targets. And this is bone 010, bone 10, 010, let me see. Bone.010 right there. And let me rotate this that way. So now basically this pull target is always going to point towards this bone. Now this isn't working at all properly, but what you want to do is basically create some IK constraints and controls for your character. You can see that right here. Let me open up another file because this thing is all out of whack. Let me see, more info, run anyway. So once you create a simple rig, again, learning about the rigs and how it works and learning about the IK controls, because this really allows for you to control your character much easier. You can see over here, I have this character that I made. Let me load it. Let me see right here. So right here, you can see this character 5 hours later. Allow execution. So over here and there, you can see that this character has IK controls, and this allows for us to easily manipulate and move the character easily. Now again, guys, when I first started Blender, I wanted to create a full-blown animation with a character like this and do, quite a bit. But I wasn't able to at first because, again, I was trying to jump straight to this without learning the basics. But once you learn all the basics and all the different steps, it really becomes easy. So once you create a simple character with a simple animation, 5 hours later, why isn't this closing? I recommend going ahead and learning about some of the shader nodes, because that's really going to come in handy. So a lot of people are overwhelmed by shader nodes, but they come in very, very handy. So learn about shader nodes and learn about the basic shader nodes first, because again, it can be very, very overwhelming. Then once you've done that, I would learn about basic geometry nodes, as again, those are very, very handy. By the way, does anyone have any questions on what I've gone over so far? Because I've been going over quite a bit. Does anyone have any questions or need clarification on anything? So again, and because you asked as far as a roadmap for beginners, but it also depends what field of Blender you're going into, whether you're just wanting to do modeling or animation or things like that. So really, it's kind of a tough question to answer because there's so many different avenues or ways to get into Blender. So it all depends what you want to do in Blender, whether it's modeling, animating, rigging, texturing, etc. So there's no wrong or right answer. It just all depends what you want to achieve, basically. All right. Does anyone have any other questions about anything in Blender? It could be regarding geometry nodes, shader nodes, animation, whatever you want. Again, if there's some geometry nodes that you're confused about or shader nodes, or you want to know how to make a particular material, what's up, RJ? What's up, brother? By the way, guys, you can feel free to go to Zoom. That is where most of the people are. You're able to see it in full screen and ask questions. One sec, let me take a screenshot of the roadmap. Oh, I already closed it, sorry. But again, my friend, there's no, don't worry, Faraz, this is recorded. So if you go to my YouTube, Blender Mania after, this will be recorded. But again, it all depends what you're going to do in Blender. If you're going to be modeling, if you're going to be animating, it will be different roadmaps. Or if you just want to learn a little bit about everything. All right. What's a good workflow for animation for a cartoon video? I've never done cartoon animations in Blender, but as far as a good workflow, everyone wants to know about workflow this live. I like it. As far as a good workflow for animation, I just subscribed for us. Says thank you for the subscription, man. I appreciate it. By the way, guys, BlenderMania3D.com is the place to go. That is the official site. So as far as a workflow for animation, it all depends. It depends. Again, different people have different workflows, but my workflow for animation is first get reference images for the characters. Again, someone asked about the workflow for an animation. Faraz says, thank you so much. Anytime, man. Anytime. So now I'm going over the workflow for animation. So get reference images for the characters. Next, you want to go ahead and get reference images for the scenery or the basically the scenery of the scene. Once you do that, what I like to do is I like to first block out the characters, and then I will refine and detail the characters. I block them out first. That way I can see if this is what I want, because if I add a lot of detail first, then I might have to redo the character, and I don't want to do that. So I block it out first, and once the block out is good, then I'll refine and detail the character. And I'm talking about modeling. Then I will add textures to the character. After that, I will rig the character. And then once my character is rigged, textured, and all that, I put it to the side and I go to the environment. So then I will block out the environment. Again, I'm blocking it out because I don't want to spend a lot of time detailing the environment if it's not what I'm looking for. So once I block it out, I'm going to do a second level of blocking and then of the environment, and then I will detail the environment like so. Then for the actual animation, I will go ahead and block out. You can see that there's a pattern here. I will block out the animation. And the reason, once again, I'm blocking out the animation is because I want to make sure that this is what I want to portray in the animation. So literally in the animation that I did over here, let me see if I could open it. Or actually, whatever, I'm not going to open it, but because I'm not really sure. Well, let me try to find it. Let me see where it is. File, open, and let me go to my new courses and animated short, major loops, and let me see, maybe here. 5 hours later. So right here, let me see if this is a good one to show. Let me go to one before that. Give me a second, guys. I'm just going to show. So 33 maybe. There we go. All right. So here, and let me reshare on Zoom because you guys can't see on Zoom. Right here. So here you can see that once again on my animated short that I did exactly that. I made the character and I went ahead. You can see right here, I have the reference image. Let me see, where is it? Let me see. Character right here. So right here, let me go to my character. Hold on, give me a second. So you can see right here, I have my character, which I fully made, rigged, textured, etc. Right now, I have subdivision surface off. But then when I block the animation, for example, I was going to make him walk across this whole library. And again, you can see that I modeled the library. So it's an ancient library. But as far as blocking out the animation, you can see that here, to just get an idea of how the animation is going to look, I literally, and the pacing of the animation, I animated the camera. And for my character right here, you can see that I just have a freaking rigify rig that is basically gliding along the floor. And this was to block out my camera shots. So I was blocking out the camera shots as this character was walking across the scene. But you can see that I'm not doing everything at once. I am blocking it out. So right here, again, I was getting the camera shots in. And instead of worrying about the character walking through the scene, I literally took just a rigify rig and I animated for how slow he was going to walk. And that way I could have the camera in the spots that I wanted and frame the character. And then I basically just deleted this and again blocked out a simple walk cycle. And then I refined the walk cycle and then more and more. But you can see here, this is literally just a skeleton sliding across the floor for the blocking out of the animation. And then let me open up another file after that. So this was 35 or something. Let me open up 40. Again, someone asked how to create a roadmap for animation. Because a lot of times you'll be so focused on creating the whole animation and everything in the shot, it gets overwhelming. Do I even have anything in this shot? All right, so here he's still gliding there. Let me open another one. Give me a second, guys. Let me try 55. And in this animation, I had two characters. So I have a person and a monster. So right here, you can see that here I've blocked out some of the animation. And it looks quite terrible. But you can see that here, I've blocked out the walk cycle right here. And again, it's very rough. And then here, I blocked out some motion capture. You can see the motion capture. Again, I filmed myself and I targeted it to my motion capture. So all this right here is motion capture. But you can see that, and let me turn on simplify, so that way Simplify is on. You can see all this is motion capture, but you can see how rough it is. I mean, look at this. He's floating above the ground. He's kind of like, this is when he gets punched back and goes back up. His foot is completely broken and crooked. He's kind of leaning to one side. Again, you can see it's very, very rough. And this is where he gets picked up and then he punches the creature or the monster. But again, very, very rough. And then I have a punch and fly animation, motion capture. So again, it's blocked out. Informative, RJ says. Yeah, definitely. Again, sometimes people try to detail stuff too much, and that's not good because, like, for example, here in the animation, he punches the creature and then flies off. But I don't know if on this one I did it, but let's say you don't like that. And let's say you spent like 40 hours tweaking this and detailing this, but then all of a sudden you realize, ah, crap, I don't want him to do that. I want him to run away. Well, you just wasted a bunch of time. And that's why you want to block it out. It doesn't matter that it looks terrible. You can see that this looks absolutely horrible. It doesn't look absolutely horrible, but it's definitely quite terrible. You can see he's leaning to the side like the Tower of Pisa and everything. It's just, all his bones are somewhat broken or breaking. You can see right here he's tilting to the side, etc. But then, and right here you can see that also I don't even have him in the scene. I'm just kind of animating his motions separate to the scene. Although, if I unhide this, yeah, you can see he's at the beginning of the library, and all of this happens at the end of the library. But I'm just kind of putting together all his motions without having him in the correct spot. And let me see if I animated the creature right here. Yeah, so the creature right here, this is another. You can see that I have a second character right here, and this is the creature character. So you can see that the creature right here, he is going to jump down from all the way up here. But you can see that once again, the creature is not jumping down from all the way up there. He's just right here floating in the middle of space. And you can see that right here, he's going to jump just from here. Because again, I am just blocking out the different characters. So right here, I have all of the character motions, or not the character, the creature motions. And you can see that right here, the creature growls at the main character. But again, you can see that the main character isn't even here because I'm still blocking out these things separately. And then I put them together. So if I go to another file, let me see. And by the way, guys, on this animation, I have 120 plus files, I believe. So I have quite a bit of different save files. Let me see right here. By the way, does anyone have any questions so far on what I just went over? Again, I'm going over the different workflow. So you can see here, I have brought the character and the creature together. So right here, but again, it is not refined. So right here, you can see that the creature is still jumping from here. And the main character, he is now actually walking across the library, as you can see right there. And right here, he's reaching for the gem. But once again, and you can see that here, the creature hits him back, but the main character is flying back before the creature even hits him. So again, I am layering my blocking. Right now, I'm blocking it so that the two characters are together, but the motions aren't matching up because the creature right here, you can see, hits the character right here. This is when he growls, but right here, he hits him. And that's when the main character needs to fly back right here, when he flies back right there. So you can see that the two animations are not synced together. And you can see right here, he gets picked up, etc. And right here, you can see it's way out of sync. But I'm just putting the two animations together, but they're not really matched up. So once I have the two animations together, the next step that I'll take is matching the timing. So obviously you want to match the timing so that when the creature hits him, he flies back, or whatever your timings are. So once I've blocked out the animations, so here I have the general overall animation of everything. You can see the creature just dies. But the timings are off. So let me go to one where the timings are... And again, even for the timings, I will block out the timings. I won't focus on, like, you know, if he punches the creature, I won't focus on the perfect impact of the fist making absolute contact with the creature. I will basically block it out. So you can see that right here. For example, right here, he grabs the gem and the creature is running towards him. And then he's going to punch the creature. And the creature goes flying into the pillar, as you can see right there. And once again, in the final animation, the pillar breaks, but I'm not focusing on the pillar breaking just yet, because otherwise it's too much to focus at once. And let's see the beginning here. So you can see the beginning here. He walks up to him, and here the creature growls, he steps back, and when the creature hits him, he goes flying back, as you can see right there. Now again, this is still blocked out. This is not refined yet, because obviously when he gets hit back, it still looks very blocky. But you can see that the timings are now matching up. And over here, if I go forward a little bit, you can see that when the creature goes up to him, he actually picks him up by the neck. And again, the timings are matching up. So once I've matched up the timing of the animation, I will then go in and refine the animation. So right here, let me go. I don't even know which one I'm on anymore, honestly. So I will refine with different passes. So I will go in and do a medium level refining of the animation for just the main character. And then I will do a medium level of refining for just the creature. And what I mean by medium level is that I'm not doing the fingers or the facial expression. I'm doing stuff such as the legs and arms and torso. So I'm adjusting any of that. And then when I do smaller detail, I will just do a pass of just adjusting the facial expressions and another pass of just adjusting the finger placements and movements. So you can see that right here. I don't even know what part of the refining process this is, but you can see that right here. I've refined it more where I add like a little bit of breathing motion. You can see right here, he's bouncing up and down to show that he's breathing. And right here, putting his fists up, and then he gets hit back. And when when the creature hits him back, I'm making sure that this has more contact with the body, as you can see right there. You can see right here, it's still not making contact. So later on, I refine it even more where the arm actually makes contact with the body. But again, basically taking it one step at a time, doing levels to the refining instead of trying to get everything correct all at once. And hopefully that answers your question. You can see that here, I added in the pillar breaking. So here, when he gets punched through the pillar, you can see that the pillar breaks and falls, and a bunch of the books from the bookshelf fall as well, etc. And there you go. So again, guys, hey buddy, how can I achieve the kind of foot locking like in your animation, like how the characters are connected to the ground? Good question. I mean, as far as the feet connected to the ground, they're not really connected to the ground, because if you look here, I mean, I could grab the foot and bring it past the ground, but basically I just have IK controls on this. And I mean, the ground is all level, so it's rather easy because the ground is completely flat. But if you look at this, again, I don't have any foot locking necessarily, because again, the feet could go through the ground. But again, like I said, the floor is completely flat, so that wasn't really an issue. But it is just IK controls. As you can see right here, I could bring this down, like that. And of course, we could hit Control-C, Control-Shift-V, and, we could adjust the character however we want. I don't even know what I'm grabbing. Kung Fu. Yeah, you get the point. So, yeah, but again, that's kind of the workflow that I do. Give him some chicken wings. And of course, we have some elbow controls and all that good stuff. And again, when you're first starting out, you don't necessarily need all these controls because it's just going to be overwhelming. You kind of want to make it a little bit simpler. I don't even know. I don't even know what kind of pose I'm giving him right now. There you go. Thriller. All right, there you go. So how do you achieve foot locking in uneven terrain? For that, I would have to refresh my memory on that because I haven't done foot locking in quite a while. So I'm pretty sure it's a little bit different now. But I'm actually kind of thinking about how to do it with geometry nodes. It'd be interesting. I think we could achieve it with some geometry nodes based on the proximity. But I'd have to mess around with that a little bit to refresh my memory because it's been a while since I've done foot locking. But hopefully that helps you as far as animation workflow right there. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I hope everyone got some value tonight. Again, we do this every single weeknight. Tomorrow we have a live challenge, and then Thursday and Friday I will be at BlendCon LA, so we won't have lives then. But if anyone has any short question, we got like 5 more minutes before I end off. If anyone has any short question, I could answer it, and then we will end off. But hopefully that helps you out, RJ. Again, the main thing, if you got anything from that, is block it out and block it out some more. That goes for the modeling, the animation, the environment, everything. Just block it out and kind of get the flow for it and then refine it. You don't want to add a bunch of detail from the get-go. Yes, that helped a lot. Thank you. What is the time that these live streams take place again? It's at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So basically an hour before now every weeknight. And once again, guys, the official site for this community is BlenderMania3D.com. So if you go to BlenderMania3D.com, all the times are posted there. We have live contests, live challenges, and a forum and a public chat. You can post your work there, etc. So there you go. 9 p.m. in Toronto. Nice, man. So, is it getting warm over there or is it still cold? I've only been to Vancouver, man, so never been to Toronto yet. It says warm. Nice, nice. Yeah, I like Canada. Although I've only been to Vancouver. I don't know if I'd like the rest of Canada because I'm not a cold person. I don't know if I could handle the cold. I'm in California, man, so I'm like a tropical warm person. He says, haha. All right, guys. So with that, to kind of recap tonight, because tonight, both of the questions were about creating a workflow. The first was creating a workflow for beginners to learn Blender. And the second was creating a workflow for animation. So guys, key notes to take away. Number one, you want to push yourself and you want to push yourself to learn things that are new and that you don't know yet, but you don't want to push yourself so much that it's overwhelming and it just frustrates you. It's just like going to the gym, okay? I am not, let's say I'm curling a weight. I'm not, let's say I'm able to curl 30 pounds. Okay, maybe I'll push myself and I'll try to curl 35 pounds because it's going to push me. But I'm not going to go over there and try to curl like 70 pounds if I'm only able to curl 30 pounds. You want to push yourself, but to an extent. Because otherwise, just like the gym, you're going to burn out. You're going to hurt yourself mentally because you're going to be frustrated and you're not going to want to continue. So take things one step at a time. Some people think that, if they just jump into the character animation and make their animation that they're wanting to make, it's going to be simpler. But it actually is simpler and much easier if you just start off with learning the basics and then go step by step, because you won't be frustrated. You'll actually understand what you're doing, because some people, they make a complicated animation or a complicated project, but they don't really understand what they're doing. They're just kind of following the tutorial and, clicking on stuff, but they don't understand what those clicks do or what the stuff does. If you don't, for example, if you're trying to animate a character like the character I was showing you, and you don't understand what the bones or the IKs actually do, it makes it much harder to animate the character, because you're just kind of, clicking stuff and following what you learned, but you don't understand it. So go at a pace where you actually understand. Push yourself still, but not to the point where it just frustrates you. Second thing is block out your scenes or whatever you're doing. Whether you are doing a simple scene or a complex animation, block it out. Block out the character, block out the environments, block out everything. And then once you block it out, do a medium level pass, and then do a second medium level pass, and then do a finer detail pass, and then do a second finer detail. Don't spend like 10 hours adding a bunch of detail on something, and then you realize, crap, I don't even want that in my scene, and you just wasted a bunch of time. And then the third one, don't give up, guys. Just keep doing it. I remember when I first started, I opened up Blender and I was overwhelmed, and I closed it right away because there was a bunch of buttons everywhere and I didn't understand anything. So just keep at it, and you'll be able to achieve whatever you want to achieve with Blender. So with that, guys, I hope everyone enjoyed tonight's live stream. Again, guys, I'm still trying to format these in the best way possible. Again, these are still relatively new, so sometimes I'm jumping a little bit all over the place, but I'm trying to hone it down and kind of narrow it down. Talking about a blueprint, or a game plan or whatever, I'm gonna create a game plan for these live streams. That way, they're a little bit more, there's more of a schedule to it. But with that, guys, hey, appreciate you all being here, taking the time, and hope you got value. Hope you enjoyed. Again, guys, tomorrow evening at the same time, we have a live contest. You could be a viewer or a participant. It is up to you. But with that, guys, we'll see everyone tomorrow, same time. And then after that is BlendCon LA. So I will be live at the Blender conference. I'll try to post as much stuff as possible. Grau says, see you all. What's up, Grau? We'll see everyone tomorrow. Ciao for now. Au revoir. BlenderMania3D.com is the official site for this community, guys. So go there if you want to message me or share your work. Thank you, buddy. RJ says, anytime, man. All right, see you guys. Ciao for now. Au revoir. See ya. I love this awkward silence after I say see ya. And